Hello everybody, I'm Lord Max Oven, a comic book writer, creator, and film producer, and today I'm going over the steps you need to take in order to crowdfund your comic book successfully. And the whole crash course that I'm doing is broken down into 3 or 4 parts. It's basically why I'm crowdfunding, even though I've been traditionally published in the past, why I'm going the crowdfunding rate this next time around, and then the steps that I have used in the past to become a best-selling creator in the direct market. I break that down into how I would do the same thing for a Kickstarter campaign. And I go over all the steps you need to take, the actual things you need to build, and things you need to figure out for your pre-launch, or actually in the pre-launching phase. And then I go over the steps you need to take once you actually launch, which is basically broken down into 4 different categories of your audience that you need to either directly reach out to, or find a way to find them and then get your project in front of their eyeballs. And then the final part, I break down sort of the money or the math, which is how many people do you need, or what percentage of the people that you're trying to capture do you think will actually transfer into sales or backers for your project? And based upon those percentages, what can you actually expect to earn in revenue, and so on. So if that sounds interesting, stay tuned. It's about 30 minutes long. Like I said, it's pretty in-depth, but it's a crash course. And if you need to know more, just ask questions in the comments, and I will respond, and we can go from there. Thanks, everybody. So I also want to break things up and let everybody know that this video is sponsored by Indie Comic Empire, which is my nonfiction book on making and marketing comic books. It's available on Amazon, like the Amazon.com, in physical print form. It's $12. Or you can get it for $5 digitally on my website, which is hovencrow.com. All the links are in the description. And I also want to let you guys know that you yourself can be a sponsor on this channel for $20 a month. You know, I average about 200 to 300 views per video, about 4 videos per month. It's about 1,000 views per month. So yeah, for $20 you can be a sponsor on my channel, or $5 a video, and I can shout out your company, your book, whatever you have going on, and so just become a member in below the video, like next to subscribe. You can either become a member, or you can email me directly at max@hovencrow.com, and we can talk about what you want to do specifically, and we can go from there. Thanks, everybody. So today I'm just going to go over kind of a crash course on doing a Kickstarter campaign for your comic book. Okay, and first so I have like a document here of kind of what I plan on doing for my Kickstarter campaign, and I'm going to go over kind of each step that I'm doing here. And this is it's essentially the same steps that you do whenever you're releasing a book through the direct market, like the comic shops and all that. But now it's tailored to a 3-week campaign. So, first of all, basically, like, why am I considering crowdfunding my next project rather than going through the direct market like I have for my past books? And here's my reasoning. So I use the Omnibus app and the League of Comic Geeks to do some research, and you can see that new releases with mainstream publishers, you can see what they look like. You can see the artwork and the creators involved, and what comes out in the mainstream, even with small press publishers, doesn't look like what I've created. Because what I've created is a black and white limited series that's a quite almost borderline erotic gore. Okay, so it's very niche in a sense, and it doesn't fit with most mainstream publishers. And if I were to go to Webtoon or Global Comics or Manga Plus, they would result in like no income for the series, because it's a limited series. In order to do well on those platforms, you need to have like a really powerful ongoing series, and once again, that takes a whole different kind of effort that I just wasn't planning to go that direction. And small press publishers, like really small press publishers that are like alternative graphic novel publishers that probably would take on this project, they have such small fan bases that like I already have an audience that's equal, if not bigger, than most of those small press publishers. And so like the benefit of going through them is very little compared to what I could do on my own. Like, if I went through the same process that I am going through here to crowdfund my campaign, and I did the same thing with a publisher, like a alt publisher, it would just result in the same amount of readers, or maybe a slightly more, and just, maybe less than half of the income I could make when doing it directly to my audience through a crowdfunding campaign. So with that said, yeah, I just want to show you, like, this is the cover of the book that I'll be crowdfunding. So you can see, like, kind of what I'm working with here. So you'll see, like, the story is called Our Love Unrest. It'll be crowdfunded as a full graphic novel. It's of a horror romance graphic, gothic romance, kind of like It Eats What Feeds It. But this one is a bit more. This one's a bit more hardcore. So anyway, so once you understand, like, that's what the project is. So here's how I break things down. I have pre-launch, and then I have basically the levels of my audience, and then the launch, which is separated into week 1, 2, and 3. And as you'll see, each week during the launch, I'm basically targeting the levels of my audience that I do up here. And then the final day is like the final push. Here I just explain all the subcultures of what, like, the similar creators and books and genres that are in my that are similar to this book, so that I can compare, or allow the readers and the backers to compare. And then you'll see finally I have the math of, like, what's the actual, like, expected revenue. So back up to the top. So pre-launch. So this is the actual stuff that I have to do. So the first steps, I wrote create copy content. And what that means is I have to actually write the project title. Like, I have to actually figure out what I'm going to fill in the blanks on the Kickstarter landing page. Or the Kickstarter campaign page. Like, the actual information I have to fill in. And so I have to come up with a project title, which is different from the book title. I have to write the log line for the not just the book, but also the campaign itself, a synopsis for the series or for the book, what I call additional body content. So this is like what goes in that long, like the main thread that you're reading on the Kickstarter landing page. So that's where I need to come up with a creative team bio, or the bios for each creator. Social proof pics. So these are things that are, the covers of my past books, or sample artwork, things that allow. These are like quotes from other people. These are what will catch somebody's eyeball, that I can put, that are like the key things that I want people to see, and not just story content, but the things that may not be directly relevant to the story but will stand out, like, oh, I'm a best-selling author, or, like I said, the covers to past projects, or I've worked with the big brands that I've worked with and big names that I've worked with and things like that. So I need to actually create those kinds of images and the quotes that I need to come up with to actually insert into the body. I also need to determine my perks, or my offers, or I think that's what you call those on Kickstarter. Like, what are people actually purchasing? Basically, what are my products? And so now, these might not be what you would want to do, but these are kind of my order as they go from $10 to $100, and then I just put random stretch goals. So in a general sense, you want to keep, like, your main product would be this one, my extended titles digital package. So that's basically not just the digital package for this book, but also all the others, and then also this one. So, like, these are the main things that I'm trying to hype, so that my average thing that people buy is $25 to $30. The full book, the graphic novel, and then everything I've done in the past as digitals. And then, but I also have, just the general digital for the book, the general full physical for the book, a limited edition physical. I guess really I should try to make, like, this. These are the two main ones, the $25, the full physicals and the extended digital package. the limited edition, so then I'm just, that may even change, there's just something that should be slightly more, and then you get, to where the superfan package, which is the trade paperback and original script, an original artwork print, or maybe a poster, and all that for $50. Same thing where I also offer like my past books, it each feeds it as a trade paperback plus Our Love Unrest is a trade paperback. The whole Hove and Crove Entertainment package, which is everything I've done in the past, including the movies, and like that's $100. And then, the stretch goals, and I can add more in there to where there's things like I can't do some of these perks like put yourself in the story because everything's already done, or it will be by the time I go live with this. So my things would be, I can come up with something that's like 300, 500, so I can maybe get like those really high ticket people who just want to really show support, and then I need to come up with something that's really gives them some form of value, but something up there. And then I have my stretch goals, which is, as you'll see later, I'm going to put a low goal, and then we add more merch that we already expect as we hit stretch goals that are still, lower than the main goal we're trying to get, but so that we reach our goal right away to build momentum. But anyway, so then I also have to create the image and video content. So I have to actually come up with the images that'll go into the campaign. That I have to come up with an image for each package or each perk. I also have to come up with the trailer to showcase, and I also have to come up with the campaign cover, which is different from the cover of the book, and all that. And then I need to determine my full list of team, which I'll go over on the next page. And then I need to set up an actual Kickstarter pre-launch page. So that's kind of generally what needs to be done for your pre-launch. Like actually the physical stuff I need to make and figure out. The next part that is still in the pre-launch phase is I need to figure out who my audience that I'm trying to reach is. And this is probably the most important thing that you're going to learn here. That I've gone over this in other videos, but essentially what you're doing here is you're determining your team and then the next levels of your audience, and they go up by levels of magnitude, group A, B, C, and D. And as you can see, I put it's like 1 to 10 people, 10 to 100 people, 100 to 1,000 people, and then 1,000 to 10,000 people. So my first list, your team, this is I've talked about is these are the people I have to know that at least 50% of them are going to back the project, and of those 50%, I need at least 50 to 100% to actually back it on day one, so that I can immediately build momentum and immediately get close, if not cross my threshold of reaching the 100% mark on day one. So this is my family. So this is literally like your parents, sisters, siblings, aunts, uncles, grandparents, and of each creator. So you can probably count, that's probably at least 5 people per creator for this project. There's 3 creators involved, so I can at least get probably 10 to 20 people. And if I can get 50% of them, let's just say 10 people there of just family. Now if I add in close friends, that, with each person, so I put this here, your close friends are people in your phone that you contact regularly. These are the people that you actually see on the weekends or see every couple of months to hang out with. These are the people you see regularly. If you say colleagues, this means people like you go to work with. You see them every day. You go to church every Sunday that you see at church. They're in your sports league every Thursday when you play tennis or whatever. These are the kinds of people. Club friends, if you play chess or fly a kite or whatever. These are the people. All the people in Group A are people you see on a regular basis that whenever you're meeting up with them for whatever else you're doing in your life, also mention to have them back your project and be like, hey, I need a lot of people to hype this on day one so I can, meet my goals. And most of those people will do it. They don't even care what you're creating. They're not there to support your art. They're there to support you as a friend or a coworker or, someone in your neighborhood. So in reality, if you add all that up, that could actually reach like 50. But to lowball it, as you'll see later, I call it a base case. We're just going to say you can get 1 to 10 people from this Group A. From Group B, this is your extended family. So this is people that you don't talk to all the time. These are your friends on Facebook that you maybe used to talk to all the time, and now you just keep up and you like each other's posts and things like that. This is your email list, like mine. This is my email list for the Hove and Crow Entertainment website. This is my YouTube following. So this is people like you. As of right now, it's about 1,500. And then also my fans on Twitter. Now the thing is a lot of these people are cross mingle. So the people that are my Facebook friends also follow me on YouTube. The people that are on YouTube also join the email list. So as you'll see later, I average all these together as just one lump sum. I don't add up all my Facebook friends of 2,000, all the email list 2,000, all the YouTube one. That because there's so many that are all the same. I assume that, over half or at least half are probably the same audience here. So I bundle them all together and I average that together. This is where I'm trying to reach 10 to 100 people. In reality, I have quite a few followers in a very indie comics kind of scale. So this is, could end up reaching like 1,000. But as you see, as I do the law of like numbers and magnitude, my whole list is that, but I can really only expect 1% of these groups to back it. So when you think of like 1% of my possible, 1 to 2,000 people, you'll see later, like that's somewhere between the 10 to 100 people range that I may actually get to back the project from Group B. Group C is what I call your psychographics. So this is 100 to 1,000 people. So this is where you're going to actually reach out to big, broad groups of people. Anyone within the Facebook group subcultures. So this is where you get on Facebook and you actually start to get on groups. And you'll see I have these like here. Subcultures. There's groups dedicated to Junji Ito, which is a very similar style to what my book is. Or just the general fans of Iroguro, which is like erotic gore. Shintaro Kagero draws in that style. So the bizarro fiction, horror manga. So these kind of genre, there's groups dedicated to this on Facebook that I can try to, post images from the thing or try to reach out to people individually and just generally engage with that culture. This is where I'll also, not just those subcultures, but also all the indie comic Facebook groups and all the indie comic discords and stuff that I'm a part of. These are where I'm going to be posting in those groups. I'll also be going on indie comic and manga podcasts. Like my own YouTube show would count as this from your perspective. From my perspective, I would need to go on other shows. I write the same thing here, YouTube channels and shows. So I separate like podcasts from shows, but really they're kind of all the same thing. And then pop culture and review sites. It is possible for me to reach out and for you to reach out to reviewers, and they will review Kickstarter comics just like they would review direct market comics in comic shops before they come out. I can send them a copy for them to read and let them know when it goes live. And if it's really good, they'll at least do a press release, which I can like write for them that they can post about it onto these review sites. And like you'll see in my other videos, or if you go on my websites and stuff, you'll see I already have literally hundreds of these sites and people and editors and stuff that I can reach out to that I've made a master list of. So I'm trying to reach 100 to 1,000 people just getting in front of their eyes. I don't actually have to reach out directly. I just have to, all these subcultures I can get in front of 1,000 eyeballs just by posting into these big groups and getting onto these YouTube shows. As long as I pick and choose wisely and don't overdo myself or something like that. Group D is what I call your demographics. So psychographics, like that means what people are into. Demographics means where people are or like who they are. So this would be how old they are, where they live, and things like that. And this would be like what kind of movies do they watch and what kind of stuff are they searching. So that's the difference between these groups. So this final group, that's where I'm actually going to reach out to local radio stations, go to local bookstores, call up local newspapers and things like that. Like I said, local radio and TV. I would probably have to reach out to like some of my old colleges and stuff like that, as this is where I might actually create postcards or something like that if there's an anime convention around in the time wherever I'm trying to go live, where I'll actually try to really hype it live, like in person at an event, where I'll be passing out postcards and trying to get people to back it right then and there with QR codes and things like that. And then any other local art fairs and music festivals that might be going on around the same time, where I can pass out, like I said, flyers, postcards, or whatever, to try to get people to the page. Anything you can do to get in front of a lot of people that they can then easily see and just like use a QR code to back a project. That's what I'm talking about, where you're just getting in front of thousands of people, thousands of people on a radio station and things like that, or in a newspaper, where you'll get a lot of those eyeballs. But like I said, you still might only get less than 1% that actually back it. But if you can get in front of a whole lot of people, like you've heard me talk about in other videos, where like going to New Orleans, if you can get, literally 1 million people show up to Mardi Gras, if you can just, stand at the corner and just be passing out stuff and talking to people and trying to hype it, 1% of 1 million is a lot. Obviously, you couldn't even get 1% at something like that, but that's just the point I'm making. So that's my audience that I'm trying to reach. Now, once I go live, I'll let my team A know the night before to remind them that they need to back it the first thing in the morning, and I'll send them the link to the page. I will then tell them all, once with the link, I'll create a separate thing that they can send to other people. So basically, in an email, I'll send them a separate email that they can then just forward to other people that has the links, so that they can send it to their team. So, 10 can turn into 100 just within, if they can send it to 10 people as well. And then throughout the first week, that's where I'll just be posting all my stuff and reaching out directly to people in Team B. People like on Facebook, you actually like privately message them, or on Instagram. And all my fans, I'll be making YouTube videos and things like that for myself and for my own channels. And the email list, week 2 is where I'll actually be going on shows and podcasts and doing press releases. And of course, this can happen, these can intermingle to where you're doing all these things throughout all 3 weeks. And then week 3 is where I'm doing interviews and live events, like I was saying. These can be intermingled, but in general, that's just the point, is you're trying to, dedicate each day to one of the 4 groups or whatever, and just slowly but surely every day reach out to people directly, make things so you can reach the big groups, and then try to reach the really big groups. And then on the final day, that's when you do just like the final last minute push on all the social medias, all the direct fans that I have and all that. Probably another final YouTube video. And that is about what we can do. And as you can see, that I was saying similar IP, the math and how that totals out, like what you can sort of expect by doing this. So what I call the base case, if you add up sort of all these people, like I was saying, a lot of these kind of cross mingle. Friends and family, if I can get 20 writer social, so that means like myself, the other co-writer, and our social media fans. Both of us each have 1,000 followers, so that could probably go up to like 2,000, and that's across all of them. So Facebook has 1,000, Instagram about 1,000, Twitter about 1,000. Across the 2 of us. And then my email list has about 2,000. The YouTube channel has about 1.5 thousand, so I average that out to about 2,000. My Facebook page and Facebook group have about 2,000 in total. The Facebook groups and podcasts that I'll be trying to get on, I average that they have a fan base of about 2,000 people. Of people that might actually be watching or actually be seeing the posts in the groups and things like that. The local press, it's like a newspaper, even though it might reach more than 1,000 people, I can really only assume that 1,000 will actually read or listen to anything I can get on. And then the biggest group I have here is the fan base of the artist of the book, by Unimun, and her Instagram page has about 23,000 followers. And as you can see over here, I put the percentage. So this is how much of this audience do I think can actually transfer into sales, or people that actually back the book. So my friends and family, I'm assuming at least 50% will back it. So I can get at least 10 from that group on day one. My writer socials, I'm assuming that about 1% of the people on my social media might actually follow it. So that's about 10 people. About 2%, I think, of the YouTube fans and the email list will actually back the project. So that's a total of about 40. Facebook, my friends from the past, maybe 20 of 2,000. Remember, 1%. Same thing, 1% of the Facebook groups and podcasts. That may even be, maybe 1% of people that, because those are other common creators. But once again, there's a lot of cross back and forth to where a lot of these people are part of the same groups. Local press, that probably should be like 0.5%. But I also lowballed how many people I might be able to reach with that. So once again, just an average 1%. The Instagram artist, that one probably could be 1%, but I lowballed it too. I put 0.5% since it's just such a large number. And you average all that together. My base case, like total eyeballs reached, is about 30,000, which means I may be able to get about 225 actual backers. Base case. That's like, meaning I say base case, like that's what I expect to get if I go through all the motions. Like that's what I actually realistically feel like my backer number will be. And if their average purchase price, like I was saying, the main graphic novel or the digitals is $25, that means that I can expect to maybe make about almost $6,000 in revenue, which means I'm going to make my goal amount 25% of what I expect to get, and I'm going to make my goal. That means it's the 25% of that is about $1,400, but I'm going to make it $1,500 just to make it not so weird. So like whenever I actually make the page, that's what my goal will be, $1,500. And in reality, I'm going to expect to make about $6,000. But that's like the base case. So if I really hustle hard and the book really, the campaign's really cool, because you'll see I didn't even put on this list like how many people to expect to get randomly from Kickstarter. And a lot of people say that that's actually where like almost half of their people come from. So if you think of that and you expand like beyond the base case to where I can get beyond my audience, get some people from Kickstarter, and I get 10% of my broad audience instead of 1%, then like my real goal is a whole nother level of magnitude higher. And then if I can get 3,000 backers instead of 225 because I reach 10% of my 30,000 base audience and they all average at $25, then my revenue jumps up to about $77,000. And that's the real goal. Like that's what we're really trying to do here. But just to be safe and make sure we're not like, we actually fund our project and stuff like that. In reality, like the book, like even if I made this, it wouldn't cover all like the production at all. Like especially since I have to pay for printing and all that stuff as well. It would be like this, reaching this base case would basically pay for the printing and it would get it to the audience, and I would essentially make $0 from the project. I would just get the project out to the people. It wouldn't actually pay for the artwork or any of the time that went into it. It would just make sure that it got to an audience. Like that's what that base. So we're really wanting to reach way more than 225 people. We really want to try to get, closer to 1,000. That's like the real goal. And then the super, top goal expected is, to, like I said, to get this 10% to where you're actually getting close, like above 50K. And you'll see, like, following these motions, like, it's not an impossible thing. You see people that do it all the time. The parts that I didn't put in here, that like how people get to those extreme numbers, is if they have a politically motivated message, if they have a very huge celebrity people involved, if they already have a huge fan base in other areas and so on. But I have none of that, and I'm assuming most of you guys won't either. So this is kind of what you can expect to get from your campaign. And this is the method I'm going to use. This is what I tell other people to go through. This method has worked for me in the past. Whenever I did this through the direct market, it worked very well. It allowed me all of my previous books to become bestsellers. I sold over 50,000 copies of Liquid Kill, and that's just from the first volume. And I sold over 25,000 copies of It Eats What Feeds It through the direct market. So I'm expecting if I can at least get 1 to 10% of that through Kickstarter, then I should be in good shape. So that's it, everybody. Thanks.